If you're considering making the move to Georgia, chances are you've got a lot of questions, especially about what it really costs to live here comfortably. As someone who specializes in helping people just like you find their dream homes here in Georgia, this is one of the top questions my clients always ask me. And I get it, because if I were moving here, I would want to be able to anticipate and compare my monthly overhead expenses to what I'm currently paying. So that got me thinking, why not show you firsthand? In this video, I'm going to be pulling back the curtain to give you a peek into my own living expenses and lifestyle. I'm literally going to be cracking open my own monthly bills and sharing with you exactly how much I spend to keep the lights on and the fridge stocked. So if you've ever wondered what it takes to live comfortably in the suburbs of Georgia, or if you're just curious about what your future might look like here in the Peach State, then you are definitely not going to want to miss this video. So let's get started. Hi, my name is Tanya Cristiano, and if you're thinking about making the move to Georgia, I want to be a realtor. Go ahead, shoot me a text, send me an email, whatever you're comfortable with. All of my contact information is going to be linked in the description below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so that you'd never miss a video with me. Now, before I start, I want to give you a little glimpse into my lifestyle. Currently, I live in Suwanee, Georgia, which is about 30 miles north of Atlanta. Suwanee is a very family-oriented suburb, so what you'll find here are excellent schools, lots of outdoor activities like parks and walking trails, and we even have a cute historic downtown area. It's a very suburban lifestyle. This is by no means a party town. If you're looking for more cultural events or like high-end shopping or fancy dinners, nightclubs, this is not the place for you. We've reserved that for the weekends when we really don't mind making that trip into the city. But Suwanee is a great place to raise a family. If you want more information on the suburb of Suwanee, check out this video right here. For reference, I live in a new construction house. Fairly new anyway, it's only about 3 years old. It's a 4-bedroom, 4.5 bathroom, and it has about 3,500 square feet. So we'll start with taxes and housing costs. For years, Georgia has had the reputation for being a more affordable place to live, where you could still afford the American dream of home ownership. But is that really still the case? Honestly, that depends on where you're coming from. Georgia has everything. We have mountains, we have lakes, we have a really nice city with plenty of great job opportunities. We're seeing a lot of people move to Georgia. In fact, over the last 2 years, there's an average of 182 people making the move to Georgia every single day. Unfortunately, pricing has increased significantly over the last few years. But when you compare us to other major cities like New York or Boston or California, it's still incredibly affordable. Since the pandemic, home prices in the metro Atlanta area have continued to rise at a more moderate pace of about 5% per year. The average sales price of a home really depends strongly on where you want to live and factors like the school district and access to entertainment and employment. Suwanee, for instance, has an average sales price of about $775,000 for a detached home and $500,000 for a townhome. But if you go about 15 minutes north to Beaufort, you have an average sales price of $550,000 for a detached home and $425,000 for a townhome. And these are just averages, of course. If you're looking for new construction with all the bells and whistles, then these prices are definitely going to be a lot higher. Speaking about new construction, I have a video with a whole series on popular builders here in Georgia like Toll Brothers and Pulte, who build beautiful new homes all over Georgia, and you can check out those videos on my channel. They all have really beautiful floor plans and awesome amenities. But one thing you will notice is that the houses are being built very close together. I've noticed that some of my relocation clients are kind of bummed out when I tell them that most new construction communities are gonna be building on small lots, which is not always their Georgia dream. Even though there's still a ton of trees in Georgia, it's very lush and green, the land lots themselves are smaller and the houses are closer together in these new construction communities. Basically, the cost of land has continued to increase, especially in some of the more developed areas where land is just harder to come by. And builders have had to utilize every square inch of the community in order to keep prices down and still maintain profits. So it's important to evaluate what's most important to you. Is it having a brand new house, totally updated with all the modern finishes right off the bat in exchange for a smaller lot? Or are you okay with looking at some resale homes that were possibly built in the 90s or the early 2000s that have larger lots and most likely are going to need some updating? Do you have to commute into the city and need to be within 45 minutes to your job? Or are you able to work from home and you're able to live a little further out where you're going to find larger lots? So now let's talk numbers. Currently, my mortgage payment comes in at $3,200. I don't know if you consider that to be high or low, but let me explain. This is actually my 5th house, and with each move, I've managed to profit on that house and roll that money into the next property. It's been a bit of a journey, but it's allowed me to put a nice down payment on this house. Breaking it down, my monthly costs look something like this. You've got $2,400 for principal and interest, another $180 for homeowner's insurance, and about $620 for property taxes. And that includes both county and city as well as school taxes. And speaking of taxes, I just found out that my property tax is going to be going up next year, so that really sucks. Of course, like anywhere, taxes in Georgia vary depending on where you live. If you live within city limits, you're gonna have to pay both city and county property taxes. Living in Suwannee within Gwinnett County today, we are looking at a millage rate of 32.1. 1 mil equals $1 of property taxes for every $1,000 of assessed value. So obviously, as home prices have gone up, so have property taxes. Fortunately, Governor Kemp signed a bill limiting the property tax increases to 3% per year, which definitely helps. I've had several clients share with me how much they're paying in property taxes and insurance where they live, whether that be New York, California, and even Florida. And they still say that Georgia is a huge savings for them annually. So that is good. Now, when you buy a house in Georgia, one of the first things you should do is file for the homestead exemption. It's a one-time thing and it lasts as long as you're living in the property, as long as it remains your primary residence. And it could save you a nice little chunk on your taxes every year. And if you're in your golden years, many Georgia cities offer a senior tax exemption. So once you hit 62 or 65, depending on the town, they'll wipe out your school tax completely, which can account for almost half of your total tax bill. Utilities. Utility costs obviously will vary based on the size of your home, how energy efficient it is, and how many people you have living in your house, and even your lifestyle. So I'm just going to tell you what I spend monthly and take into consideration that my house is 3,500 square feet, and I usually have 3 to 5 people staying at the house at all times. My water bill on average runs about $50 per month. I do not have a sprinkler system. Honestly, I watered my grass regularly for the first year when I installed my sod, and ever since then, I've never watered my grass, and I don't even have a sprinkler system. The grass looks fine. I do have a pool, and of course, that amount does not include filling the pool. I use DirecTV, And I'm going to be honest, I feel like it's a big ripoff a lot of times. It's one of those things where they give you all of these credits and then they expire and then your bill shoots through the roof. But my family likes it, so whatever. But for the basic channels and a few extra like HBO, we pay $120 per month. For internet, I use Spectrum and I pay $90 per month, and that does include some equipment lease costs as well. For electricity and gas, now these are going to be my biggest expenses, and that's just normal, I think, for anybody. The biggest factor in these are the temperature. In the height of the summer, when I'm running air conditioning nonstop, my electric bill can get up to $600 a month. And then it's back down to $250 in the winter. And then likewise, in the coldest winter months, my gas bill has gotten up to $500. And then my electric bill is down at $100. In the more milder months, both of my bills stay relatively low. For instance, last month's bills for April, I paid $271 for electric and I paid $197 for gas. So my gas controls my heating, my hot water tank, my fireplace, and my gas range. I also have gas lanterns that run 24 hours a day, but supposedly that's only supposed to cost around $5 a month. My electrical is pretty much everything else. It's my air conditioning, it's all of my power needs, and I do run my pool pump and my waterfalls every day for several hours a day. I also have 2 electric cars that we charge at home, so that factors into that cost. I'm going to be very honest, I value my comfort above all. So if it's hot outside, I'm running that air, and if it's cold, we're running the heat. We have high ceilings. So I think that even though my house was built to be energy efficient, like I have energy efficient windows and spray and insulation on all the exterior walls, and my appliances are all energy efficient, even with that being said, I feel like my utilities are kind of high. And some of that has to do with our own choices. If there are times where I need to cut back, I think that I'll usually cut back in other places, like going out to eat, before I start sacrificing utilities and comfort. One thing I always like to do is review all of my bills semi-annually to make sure that the different providers haven't hiked up my rates. And if they have, I price other providers just to make sure I'm getting the best deal possible. Also, there are a lot of companies here that give you the option to kind of spread out the cost of your utility bills over 12 months evenly, so that you're not having to have these huge hikes when the weather goes up or down. And it really helps if you want to budget your expenses better. Finally, landscaping, which usually costs me $180 per month. And that includes the mowing of the lawn, the trimming of the bushes, weed control, and fertilization. Next, we have food and groceries. I think Georgia is just like any other state, experiencing high inflation at the grocery store. It can be startling when you go to the store and you see an $8 box of cereal or a $6 gallon of milk. This is one place where I can save money when I want to. I am one of those people who will go to 3 or 4 different grocery stores to get the most for my money. I usually start at Aldi and I pick up my basics because I feel like I can get a much better price on organic items like milk and salad and fruit. Then I go to Publix because they always have the buy one get one free items, and those are always good. I go to Fresh Market every week on Tuesdays because they have the reduced price for the chicken and the ground beef, and it's a really good quality meat. And then I go to Costco at least once a month to get my toilet paper and my paper towels and my garbage bags and detergents. It can be kind of time consuming going to all of these different stores. But if I were to go to Fresh Market or Whole Foods for the entire thing, I'd probably spend like $400 a week. And doing it this way, I usually spend anywhere from $200 to $250 a week. Finally, we have transportation. Georgia does have some forms of mass transportation, and that's honestly mostly in the city. If you live out in the suburbs like me, you really do need a car. So as far as transportation costs, it's pretty much your car insurance, your fuel, and your actual car. Like I mentioned before, I have an electric vehicle, so we just charge our cars at home. But as of today, the gas prices here in Atlanta are $3.40 per gallon, and of course that fluctuates all the time. As far as car insurance go, we have two relatively new Teslas. They're just a few years old, and we have a pretty good driving record. So for the two of us, my husband and I, our car insurance runs $365 per month. So those are my 5 main categories of expenses. I'm curious to know, what do you think? Does this cost of living seem high compared to where you live? Or is it actually lower than you expected? I'm really curious. I really want to know what you have to say. So please leave your thoughts in the comments. The prospect of moving to a different state can feel overwhelming. If you're curious about what it looks like to work with me, check out this video right here where I detail my process and how I've helped people just like you relocate to Georgia successfully. I'll also link it at the end of this video. I hope this video has provided valuable insight into the true cost of living here in the Metro Atlanta area. Making the move to another state is a big decision, one that requires careful consideration of the pros and the cons. If you are contemplating a move to or even within Georgia, my team and I would be honored to be a resource for you. Feel free to shoot me a text, send me an email, whatever you're comfortable with. All of my contact information is going to be linked in the description below. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye, y'all.